Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. My name's Amanda and I'm going to take you guys through a video on half moon pose. So this is one of my favorite poses and I'm going to show you a few different ways to get into this pose. So as for props, we're just going to basically use a yoga block like this. If you don't have one of these, no problem. You could use books or anything else like that. And if you don't have anything, that's totally okay. Another way I'm going to show you how to get into this pose is using the wall. So if you have a wall behind you, that could be really helpful. So let's get started. You can come to a comfortable seated position. We're just going to close down the eyes and we're just going to take a few breaths. Let's allow ourselves to come into this moment, into this practice. Allow yourself to try to just be here in the present moment. Know that it's normal for us to get swept away in a thought, and this is why we practice this, just to constantly remind ourselves of this awareness. So whenever we are taken by a thought, we can just come right back. So let's take 5 full breaths and let's just see if we can stay present for these 5 breaths. So we're just watching the inhalation, watching the exhale. If your mind has wandered, don't worry, don't judge yourself, just come back to your breath. Let's take a few more breaths in this silence, in this stillness. Again, just observing the breath. If you'd like to set an intention for your class, you're welcome to do so. Now let's just start to blink the eyes open. And we'll start with some arm raises. So on our inhale, let's sweep the arms up. Exhale, take the arms down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, take the arms down. Let's do this one more time. Inhale, arms come up. Pause, and we're going to add a twist. So let's twist over to the left. So right hand comes on our left knee. Left hand comes behind us. We're sitting up nice and tall. Take one more breath here. Now on your inhale, sweep those arms back up. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to the right. Let's take one more breath, and we're going to do each side one more time. So inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, twist over to the left. Again, sitting nice and tall. One more breath. And let's bring the arms up and twist over to the right. coming back to center. Now we're going to move to a tabletop position. So you can remove your cushion or your block, whatever you were sitting on there. In our tabletop, we're going to have our wrists right underneath our shoulders and our knees right under our hips. We're going to do a few cat-cows here. This is going to help really unwind the spine. So let's drop the belly, lift the gaze, cow pose. Exhale, curl the spine, chin comes to your chest. Cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, and exhale. Press into the mat, really arch your spine. Let's move a few more times through these poses, just following our own breath. Now the next time you come out of your cat pose, we're going to pause in a neutral position. So we're going to add a side plank. So we're going to keep our right hand and our right knee exactly where they are. And we're going to kick out the right foot and we're rolling open to the left. So left hand comes up, press your hips forward, really press down with that right hand. We want a nice, strong, stable arm. And from here, we're going to lift the left leg. So just keep breathing here. Keep reaching that left arm. Notice your hips stacking over top of one another, and notice the shoulders stacking. So this is actually a modified half moon pose. Let's take one more breath and we're going to release. Come back to tabletop. Now let's roll open to the right side. So again, left hand, left knee stay just where they are. Kick out the left foot and we're going to roll open to the right. Right arm reaches up. Shoulders are stacking, hips are stacking. And then we raise that right leg. Flex in through the right foot. We want a really strong leg. Open up through your chest. Try not to cave in. Let's take one more breath. And let's release, coming back down to tabletop. From here, we're going to move to a child's pose. So take your knees about mat width apart. Toes are touching, and we're going to drop the hips back. Arms are going to reach out in front of us. And maybe you rest your forehead down on the mat. Taking a few breaths here. Notice your sit bones dropping. Notice the space now into the low back, in through the hips. So let's take our child's pose out to the right side. So we're going to walk the hands over to the right. So we're just adding a side bend. Press in through your left hand and pull back with your left hip. So we're really opening up through that left side. Feel the space there. Let's take one more breath. And we're going to walk our hands back through center and then over to the left. Again, dropping down. Maybe this time you really press in with your right hand and pull back with your right hip, opening up through those ribs. Breathe into that space. Let's take one more breath. And we're going to take our hands back to the center, coming up back to tabletop. From our tabletop, let's move to down dog. So we're going to tuck our toes, press in through the hands, spread the fingers, start to lift the knees. Straightening out the legs as much as you can. And we're pulling our chest towards our thighs. Sit bones are tilted up. Let's take one more breath. And we're going to move to three-legged dog. So let's start to lift through the right leg. Reaching that right leg up. And on your exhale, we're going to plant that foot between the hands. Let's drop down onto our left heel. So we're setting up for warrior two. Now we're going to windmill the arms up. Come into warrior two. Just have a quick peek down and make sure that your heel is in line with the back arch. Drop your shoulders. Let's take one more breath. And then on your inhale, we're moving to reverse warrior. So drop your left hand down to your left thigh. Right arm comes up. Keep that bend in through the front knee. One more breath. Now let's take the right forearm down to the right thigh, coming into extended side angle. Left hand comes all the way up. Keep pressing in through that outer edge of the left foot. Keep spiraling this left shoulder open. Now on our next inhale, we're going to come back up through warrior two. And then let's windmill the hands down. Lift the left heel, and we're going to step back to down dog. On your next inhale, let's lift the left leg. Three-legged dog. Step that left foot between the hands and drop down on that right heel, coming up into warrior two. Again, have a peek down, just make sure your feet are in line. We want that front heel in line with the back arch. Arms are extended out. Drop the shoulders and just breathe. On your next inhale, we're moving to reverse warrior. So take the right hand down to the right thigh, left arm comes up. Breathe in through this whole left side. Feel the space there. Let's start to come up. And now we're going to drop our left arm onto the left thigh, coming into extended side angle. Right arm comes all the way up. Keep breathing, keep opening through the chest. On your next inhale, let's come back up to Warrior Two, and then let's windmill the hands down, lifting that right heel and stepping back to Down Dog. On your inhale, we're going to look to the front of the mat and start to make our way up. Coming up to Forward Fold. So our feet are hip distance apart, hands are maybe on the ground. Just let the upper body go. On your next inhale, we're going to come up to a halfway lift, so hands press into your shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we're going to sweep the arms all the way up and come up to standing. Hands come through our heart. So I'm going to show you half moon pose from the wall. I find the wall can be a really nice support for our body. We just feel a lot more stable, which allows us to get into the pose. I am going to bring my block over, so grab your block if you like. We're going to come back to that forward fold. So we want to be close to the wall. Coming from our forward fold, we want our feet hip distance apart. Your hands could come to the mat, or again, your hands could come to blocks if that's easier. So I'll show you with a block. You could have two blocks too. This would be really helpful. We're going to start to kick back that left leg. Keep kicking that leg, and we're eventually going to start to stack our hips. So our left hip is going to come over top of our right hip, and use the wall, like lean into this wall. This is a nice support system. Left hand could stay on your hip, or you could reach up. Again, we want to really focus on stacking our hips as much as we can and our shoulders. So your gaze could come up, or you could stay looking down. Keep flexing that left foot. And then we're going to start to bend in through the right leg. Bring your left hand down, step the left foot down. Let's try that on the other side. So again, you don't have to use the block. So come back, feet are hip distance apart, coming back to our forward fold, bend in through the knees, hands can come to the ground. This time we're kicking back the right foot. Keep kicking that right foot, starting slowly to stack the hips. Right hand can come to the right hip. Left hand can stay on the ground. You can stay like this. This right hand doesn't have to come up. Your left hand can also hover. Keep breathing. If your hand is hovering, bring it back to the ground or to your block. And let's start to bend in through that left knee. Take the right hand down, then the right foot. All right. Let's try this with a little flow. So another way to come into half moon pose is from our warrior two. So I'll show you that. So let's start back in our Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a couple breaths here. And we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands come to our shins. Exhale, forward fold. Take your hands to the mat, and we're going to step back to down dog. Take a few breaths here. Now let's start to lift through the right leg, coming into that three-legged dog again. And let's take that right foot between the hands. From here, let's really press into our feet. We're going to come all the way up to a lunge position. So inhale, come up. We want a nice strong back leg. Now let's drop the left heel and extend the arms, coming back into that warrior two. Let's pull our front knee out a little bit so that we can see our big toe. That'll help support the knee. Keep breathing. Now we're going to reverse our warrior again. So take your left hand down to your left thigh, right arm up. So coming up to warrior two, bend in through that front knee again. And from here, we're going to move to half moon pose. So drop the right hand down on the ground. You could again use a block. So take the right hand down. We're going to take a mini step up with that left foot. Now your right hand is in front, but also just to the right of that right foot. Start to kick up that left leg. Left hand can come to your hip, or left hand can reach up. Now again, in this pose, we are working on stacking our hips, stacking our shoulders. Left foot is flexed. Keep breathing. To release out of this pose, we're going to take a nice deep bend in through that right leg and step back to warrior two. Now let's windmill the hands down, step back to down dog. Let's try this on the other side. So on your next inhale, let's kick the left leg up, three-legged dog. Step that left foot between the hands. And we're going to rise up again into that high lunge. So press into the feet, lift yourself all the way up, reach up, take a couple breaths, drop the back heel. We're moving into warrior two. Keep breathing. On your next inhale, let's reverse our warrior. Right hand comes to the right thigh, left hand comes up. Breathe. Now we're going to take that half moon pose again. So let's come back through warrior two. Lean forward, take that left hand in front of the left foot and just out to the left. Take a mini hop forward if you need. Press into that left hand. Again, this hand could be on a block. Kick that right leg up. Right hand can come to the low back or the hip. Start to open the hip. Your hand could stay on your low back, or if you like, you could reach your right hand up. Keep breathing. And know that that wall is always there for you if you want to do half moon pose against the wall for a while. That's completely perfect. So let's release back through warrior two. So bend in through that left leg and land in warrior two. Windmill the hands down, right heel comes up, step back to down dog. Take a couple breaths. Now let's drop our knees to the mat. And we're going to come back to a seated position. So let's take the legs in front of us in a staff pose. Now let's bend through the left knee. Bring that left foot against the right thigh. Head to knee pose. Inhale, lift up, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Maybe you grab your leg, maybe you grab your foot. Both work, both are great. Keep breathing here. Feel the hamstrings starting to soften here. Let's take one more breath. And let's start to come up. We're going to move to a twist. So let's lift our left leg and just take our left foot on the other side of our right leg. We're going to twist to the left. So take your left hand behind you, right arm comes up, maybe you cross it over, or maybe you just grab onto your knee. See if you can sit nice and tall. Keep breathing. And let's release. We're going to move to the other side. So let's take our right foot against the left thigh. Head to knee pose. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Again, your hands can come to the leg, the mat, wherever they fit. Keep breathing. Keep sinking into this pose. On your next inhale, let's start to come up. Now let's bring that right knee up. Take the right foot across the left leg. Coming back to that twist. So right hand comes behind you. Left hand could stay on the right knee, or left elbow comes to the other side of the knee. Keep breathing. Take one more breath. And let's come forward. We're going to make our way down to our backs now. So let's come all the way down. And let's extend the legs. We're coming to Shavasana. So let's just rest in this pose. Eyes are closed. You've worked very hard. You deserve this rest. Allow your body to really just absorb all the benefits from this practice. let's slowly start to deepen our breath. Maybe let's add a little bit of movement to the fingers, to the toes. You could reach overhead. And you could give your knees a little squeeze, bring the knees into the chest. Maybe you rock side to side a little bit. And allow yourself to come to one side. Eventually, we're going to make our way back up to a seated position. So meeting in our seated position, keeping the eyes closed. Sometimes when we try something different, it can feel awkward and almost like we just don't even want to do it. But can you give yourself permission to play and to try something new? Let's start to blink the eyes open. So guys, I hope that you can take some of these ideas for Ardha Chandrasana and practice them, play with them, see what you like. I'll see you guys next time. Namaste.